There are moments in history that decide everything. Moments where the world stands on the edge, and one decision changes the future forever. Not over years, not over time, but in seconds. Because sometimes history is not shaped by armies or governments, but by one person in one moment, choosing what to do next. This is Forgotten Minds, where we bring lost stories into the light. And this is the story of a man who may have saved the world without firing a single shot. He wasn't born into power. He didn't grow up expecting to stand between peace and destruction. He was born on January 30th, 1926, in a small village near Moscow, in the former Soviet Union. A simple beginning, a life shaped by discipline, by duty, by a world that was constantly preparing for conflict. He joined the Navy, trained, served, became part of a system built on orders, structure, obedience. Because in the military, you don't question, you follow. But history doesn't always follow rules. Then came the moment that changed everything. A global crisis, tension rising between two superpowers. The world divided, fear spreading across continents. Because this wasn't just politics anymore. This was nuclear, a confrontation that could end everything. And deep beneath the ocean, hidden from the world, he was there, on a submarine, cut off from communication, surrounded by uncertainty and pressure. Because above him, war could already be starting. But he didn't know. No one did. The submarine was being tracked, harassed, pushed to the limit, explosions around them. Not attacks, but warnings, signals, forcing them to surface. But inside, it didn't feel like a warning. It felt like war. The crew was exhausted, heat rising, oxygen falling, tension building with every second. And then came the decision. A weapon on board. Not a conventional one. A nuclear torpedo, capable of destruction, on a scale the world had never fully seen. The protocol was clear. If war had started, they could launch. But to do that, it required agreement. Not from one man, but from three. Two agreed. They believed war had already begun. They believed this was the moment to act, the moment to strike. And then there was him, one man, standing between launch and restraint, between escalation and survival. He hesitated, not out of fear, but out of doubt, because something didn't feel right. No confirmation, no certainty, just assumption. And in that moment, he made a choice to wait, to refuse, to question what others were ready to accept. And that decision changed everything, because the war had not started. Those explosions were not attacks. They were signals. And if that torpedo had been launched, the response would have been immediate, massive, unstoppable, a chain reaction that could have led to nuclear war. But it didn't happen, because one man said no. The submarine surfaced, The crisis passed. The world moved on, unaware of how close it had come to destruction. But his story didn't become known. There were no headlines, no recognition, no global praise, because the mission was secret, and silence was part of the system. He returned to a life without acknowledgement, without celebration, carrying a moment the world didn't even know existed. The stress, the weight of that decision, it stayed with him. Because sometimes saving the world doesn't feel like victory. It feels like silence. He lived the rest of his life without fame, without the recognition that matched the scale of what he had done. And on August 19th, 1998, he passed away without ever truly seeing the world understand what he had prevented. Think about it. How many moments have shaped history that we know nothing about? How many lives have been saved by decisions no one ever heard? Because sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who are never seen. He didn't fight a war. He stopped one. Not with force, not with power, but with judgment, with restraint, with courage, in the face of pressure. And because of that, the world you live in today still exists. His name was Vasili Arkhipov. If this story made you pause, if it made you think, if it made you realize how close history can come, then you already understand why stories like this matter. This is Forgotten Minds, where we don't just tell history, we reveal what it tried to hide. Like the video. Subscribe and be part of a journey that brings the forgotten back into the light. And if you want to explore the truth behind this story, check the first comment. All references are there. Because every story we tell is built on truth, and some truths deserve to be remembered.